ठीक है, चेक कर लीजिए आवाज। करें स्टार्ट? ठीक है। सो यू गॉट द हैंड आउट? या व्हाट इज रिटन देयर? हैंड आउट? No, today we are going to discuss this, the progressive era in USA and Woodrow Wilson. Acha, they have also given, acha, this is for tomorrow's, right? So like before starting, what we are going to do, simply we will do a revision what we studied yesterday. So what we studied, any idea? Okay. Okay, first topic we studied what is, so public administration is basically a state which serves two people, right? Then we studied what? Public administration. Okay, good. Public administration as an activity in ancient times. Number 3, then we studied public administration. Okay, in ancient times we studied about Mesopotamia. Okay, 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 good. Okay, then we studied public administration as an activity in medieval times. Basically, we saw about church, little bit on military organization, then about UK royal household, then France, ancient regime, then little bit I told you about Mughal administration, right? Then public administration as an activity in modern time, right? So we started from Russia, good. After that, British, okay. US, France, okay, right? Then we started US history, right? So today we are going to start from there only, right? That is why here you can see it is written the progressive era in USA. But for understanding this progressive era, you need to actually know about history of USA in somewhat detail. History of USA, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you once again what I told you little bit yesterday, right? So this is the map of USA, right? And this is Europe, this is Africa. Africa, Europe, right? Particularly, let us say this is Spain, this is UK, this is France, right? So what happened? Columbus started searching for India, right? And he sailed from Spain to here. Today, this is Mexico, right? Although exactly he sailed on a very small island, but still just for the sake of understanding, he basically sailed what today is known as Latin America, right? First he thought it is India, but later on it was clarified that it is not India because India is somewhere after Africa, right? And why he came here? Because he wanted to explore the trade route, right? And India was famous for what? Spices, right? Spices trading was considered to be one of the most profitable business during this time, right? Even today you will find Kerala is kind of a big exporter of spices even today, right? Because in Kerala, the mountains there they produce, I think Annamala Hills, They produce very unique spices which you will hardly found anywhere, right? But later on, one person came from again Spain and he discovered America. First it was known as America, but it was in the form of colony, right? And when he discovered, then obviously UK also started going, France also started going. So what happened? This part of what we say America, east part was occupied by UK as a colony, right? This part was, no, this part was by France, right? In Canada, there is, what is the language of Canada? You know, official language of Canada, English, French, two languages. One province is there somewhere near here, Quebec. You will read in international relations, right? Quebec always complete different culture from other Canadian province. It is completely here. The first language is French only, right? Quebec is more connected than France today than Ontario or Vancouver in Canada, right? But this part was basically captured by Spain. It was ruled by Spain. Spain not only ruled here, but Spain and Portugal, they ruled most of the countries of today's Latin America, right? Then there was a dispute between the inhabitants who were living in the UK colony and UK government. It was related to taxation, right? Taxes, right? Who has the right to tax, immediately tax the goods which are arriving here, right? Then it was a main factor for American Revolution. American Revolution became became successful, yeah, right? It became successful due to support of which country? France, right? It supported the local people with money, weapons, and everything. And the support was that much that France became, yeah, France became lots of debt, right? Due to that, French Revolution happened because a state doesn't was having any money for financing the people's need, right? So this is a little bit story of how USA got independence, right? After that, come to the second perspective, right? Of how USA got independence. Sorry, not UK, right? Now come to completely about USA, right? What happened in 1776? USA was born 1776, but even after the independence, it was expanding the territory, right? So this is USA. This part became independent, but still these part which is today's Latin America, or you have seen the map of USA. Texas, you know, Texas, California. So here is Texas. Then Louisiana is also one very big province. They were actually under Spain and France, like small parts, right? So what happened in this expansion of territory? There was war also. Spain, with Spain, that is called Spanish War. They fought one war with this country and they won also, right? And in exchange of this, they also won one country that is known by this name, right? USA, just like British ruled India, USA has also ruled in this country. So USA, although for the very short term, it was also a colonial power. right? So all most of the Western countries you will find at some time they were colonial power, right? Now what started after they won the Spanish War? Two, three unique things started happening in this country because in Europe there was a rumor that if you will reach to America, you will find what? Gold. There is huge opportunity in the new country, right? So large scale migration started from 1800. You can see here, na? This is visible. Na? Okay. Number one, large scale migration of people from Europe, right? Number one. Number two, the southern part of USA, they were involved in plantation industry, and for doing plantation they needed laborers. That is how slavery started in USA, right? Slavery started in USA, specifically in the southern part of the country. Number three, since now USA was having Philippines as a territory, and due to increasing population there was huge scope of goods and services, so industrial revolution started in this country, especially after 1840s, right? And this was the time when there was invention of telephone, light bulb. So telephone more or less solved the problem of what? Communication, right? And light bulb solved the problem of, it saved the time, because before the invention of light bulb in factory a labor can be working only in daytime. Now after the invention of light bulb it was very clear that now people can work in night also, right? But with the industrial revolution, problems also started coming in this country, right? Now we need to discuss this problem, then only we will get to know what actually is this progressive era which is written in your handout, right? So industrial revolution started. Industrial revolution started in USA, right? And USA from day one was always anti-European, always. The people who are migrating from Europe, 90% people, maybe all people, they were mostly against the European practices. They were against the idea of monarchy. They were against the ideas of king. Because yesterday I told you, migrating itself from Europe to USA, it took around 8 to 9 months. That was not a very easy thing to do, right? So people came here, and obviously when they came, they started searching employment and they started joining the factories, right? So in USA, the economy was based on capitalism from day one. What is capitalism? Capitalism means, simply means, the economy was based on private sector. Private sector was given a key role in economy. For example, in India, government is a major player, right? So for road construction, government is responsible. For giving pension, government is responsible for giving job. Government is responsible. Like this mindset we are having in our country, right? For everything, government is responsible. We are dependent on the government. But in USA, right from the day one, come, ठीक है, अभी बहुत ज्यादा नहीं हुआ, come. So I will simply like एक बार और बता देते हैं. It is hardly 10 minutes, 15 minutes only. So I was telling you about the history of USA, which we started yesterday, right? एक बार आप वो ले लीजिए, फिर एक बार फिर से. Just in 5 minutes I will tell him. Okay? Just in 5 minutes I will tell him. हाँ हो गया, हाँ ठीक है. So I was telling, when USA got independence from UK, after that they fought one war. They fought war with Spain because the war was fought basically for the territorial expansion of USA as a country, right? You have seen the map of USA. Today Texas is there, Louisiana is there. They occupied after winning this war, but along with that, they also occupied one country, that is Philippines, right? And since now USA became a colonial power, now it was getting raw material in a very cheap way, right? And from here, a rumor started in Europe that one new country is taking birth, that is USA. There, if you will go, if you will migrate, there is huge opportunity. You will find gold, right? So lots of migration is started from USA to, from Europe to USA, right? Not only migration. Number two, the southern USA, the economy was basically plantation agriculture. And for plantation agriculture, you need what? Labor. That is how slavery started in USA, right? And due to the large population, now demands of goods and services started very fastly in USA, and that is how industrial revolution started in USA, right? ये जो अभी तक I told, right? From here we will start. Okay, so from day one, the economy of USA was based on this assumption that government will not interfere much in the economy. Rather, private sector will be independent, right? They will be given independence. Government will not interfere much. Government will not interfere much, at least, right? At least they are not interfering in day-to-day business, right? In India, for example, during 1990, government was kind of everywhere. You know that for taking telephone, it used to take like 10 years. You know that? You may have heard. For taking telephone connection, people used to wait like 5 years, 6 years. For getting one, acha, okay. For taking vehicle, people used to wait like 2 or 3 years. You may have heard Bajaj scooter. Just talk to any old person, he will tell you, right? But in USA, this thing was completely opposite, because private sector was completely given freedom, because see, this is called capitalism. Against this, one idea is there, that is called socialism, right? In socialism, government plays major dominant role in day-to-day functioning of the economy. And one more idea is there. Acha, chalo, I will tell you first. This is concept of economics, but I will tell you what is capitalism, socialism, and communism. Because in GS also they will cover, but still I will tell you. So three ideas are there: capitalism, right? So which country is communist? Any idea? China. USA, UK, they can be considered as those countries which are completely capitalist. As socialist or socialism? India, very good example, India. Right? See, with one example, I will tell you. A very famous economist has given this example. You may have heard also. So let us say you are having 10 cows. Right? They are giving milk and you are selling them in market. Right? This concept is very simple and given by one very famous economist. Right? So in capitalist type of economy, what will happen? Government will say, okay, you sell this milk, right? But there is no rule that other person can't have 10 cows. So let us say one more guy comes, he's also having 10 cow, right? And he's also selling milk and you are selling this milk, let us say 10 rupees per liter. Now he started selling as 9 rupees per liter. Now people will buy from this person. So you will also reduce the price. Right? Maybe third guy will come. He may be having 100 cow and he will sell, let us say 8 rupees for 5 rupees. So here government will not interfere because it believes that due to competition, right? Due to competition, prices will go down. Due to competition, prices will go down in capitalism. This is the basic idea of capitalism. Right? This is the basic idea. There is hardly any role of government. Right? Now come to communism. So let us say in communism, you are having 10 cows. So government will come and it will say, real owner of this cow is government, not you. Means they will take all your 10 cows. And they will say, we will decide the price. So everything is controlled. For example, China. You may have heard this. Everything is controlled by government. Every aspect of life is controlled by government. Right? See, China politically today it is a communist country, but economic wise it is not that much. One country you can give. That is why you will find that due to this controlling nature, most of the time this communist type of economy become dictator type of economy or government due to this nature of controlling everything. Right? So here hardly individual have any independence. So government will come and say, these are basically our cows, government is a real owner and we are going to fix the price. Right? Socialism is the real idea given by European thinker, but in reality adopted by one country, that is India. Right? It is a middle way between capitalism and communism. So let us say if you are having 10 cows, right? So government will come and say, okay, 6 cows, you decide by yourself what you need to do. The price from this 6, we don't care, you decide. But the production of milk from 4 cows, we will take in the form of tax. See, they are not taking the milk. They will simply tax. Right? So let us say With 10 cows, you are selling daily 100 liters of milk. So the moment you will go to market, government will say tax is 40 liter. Now you are having 60 liter. So you need to do business in 60 liter. Acha, economy classes have started? No. See, in economy, you will read about Reserve Bank of India. So if you want to do business in banking, let us say you want to open some bank. So RBI says that around 8% is cash reserve ratio. It means that in 100 rupees, 8 rupees you need to keep with RBI always. Right? Two concepts will come. Lots of prelims questions are also coming every year. SLR, CRR, repo rate, reverse repo rate. Maybe you have heard this in newspaper. Okay. So usually in India, if you want to open bank, so 100 rupees with, because who will give the permission? Government, in effect RBI, right? Because RBI is the bank of banks, right? So RBI will say, okay, in this 100 rupees, 8 rupees you need to keep with us in the form of CRR, cash reserve ratio, right? Then again it says that 12 rupees you need to keep in your bank in the form of SLR, that is statutory liquidity ratio. This both money you can't use, just you need to keep in your bank. So how much money you need to keep total? No, 20 rupees, 12 and 8, right? 8 rupees is with RBI, 12 rupees is with you, bank. So you are remaining how much? 80 rupees. So banks are basically doing business in 80 rupees only. That is the one of the primary reason why in India usually banks don't fail. Yeah, in economy this will come. This is question of mains. Everyone. Government banks, cooperative banks, international banks, everyone. This is kind of basics, right? This is see, this is not related to this. This is related to in 80 rupees, what business they are doing, that also is failing. Okay? Their earning is, see, in if your earning is 80 rupees, then why you are opening the bank? Your earning must be at least 85 to 90 rupees, right? But what they are doing? In 80 rupees, they are going like minus 50%. So they are in loss. Continuously, they are in loss. Public banks. And see, the factors which is responsible for loss, many factors are there. Right? For example, one example I will give you. If someone approaches, let us say private bank, SDFC bank. Now you told, sir, I want 100 crore loan. So SDFC bank will give directly. First, they will check your background. Everything they will check. Problem with public sector bank is, in reality, so a person will approach SBI and he will say, okay, I want 100 crore loan. Okay? SBI says, okay, we want this, that, this. A call will come from minister. Okay, this is my guy, give him loan. Like this, lots of problem. Government job, not that much efficient. So why people will keep money with SBI? See, poor people bank in India is SBI, Punjab National Bank, but very rich people, their bank is SDFC, ICCI, right? Federal Reserve Bank, Deutsche Bank, German bank, right? There are many factors that you will read in economy. Because the moment any sector becomes government, there is huge scope of interference from politicians and bureaucrats, right? So those are kind of different thing, right? So socialism, acha ye aaya, this you are getting what is socialism, what is communism and capitalism. So USA from day one was always a capitalist country, right? So when industrial revolution came, it was believed that the prices will go down with the competition, right? So with the coming of industrial revolution, it was believed that due to capitalism, there will be competition and prices will go down. It was believed. But unfortunately, rather than prices going down, prices started going up. Right? Achha, what this phenomena is called? Continuous increase in price. Have you heard one term, inflation? This is called inflation. Right? Just right, because in economy, this is called inflation. Continuous price rise is known as inflation. Very general way I am telling you. See, this is the unique characteristic of public administration, right? If you are reading this discipline, you will cover economics, you will cover most of the general studies part, right? But rather than increasing the prices, prices were very, very high, right? So obviously people started questioning the private sector that if there is competition, then how prices are increasing, rather it should have decreased, right? Number two, due to right due to huge migration, the problems which started from what is urbanization? What is urbanization? Huh. When people start migrating from villages to cities, and that is kind of uncontrolled, unregulated. Many countries of India are suffering from this problem, right? From Jammu Kashmir to Kanyakumari, many cities are there. Delhi, in Delhi, around 60% people live in slums. You know this? 60% people live in slums. JJ Colony, you have seen this is written on buses here. On buses, you will find one ticker is going on yellow color. You have seen buses in Delhi. This sticker will go JJ Colony. What is this? Juggi Jhopadi Colony. Okay. Just like this, in USA, this problem started, and that was the time when spread of disease such as tuberculosis was very prevalent. No, no, no. It is from 1850 to 1890. One thing you will feel after reading this, that today we are also facing more or less this problem only. India as a country is also somehow facing these problems only. Price rise. You know what is tomato price today? 100 rupees kg. Ha ha ha. Some 4 days before it was 20 rupees. 4 or 5 days before. Today it is what? 100 rupees. Onion story you may be knowing. Many times onion will go to 150 also, 200 also. Okay? Because onion in India, in any state, one vegetable which is there always in demand is onion. Right? Okay? So spread of disease and everything started happening. But the worst was the condition of working environment in industries. Poor conditions of working industrial environments. And what were those problems? Number one, hardly there was today when we are doing job, you will hear that it is kind of defined that 10 o'clock you need to come, 4 o'clock you need to go. 8 hours. But during that time, it was completely unregulated and working hours were very long. Working hours were around 12 to 16 hours. Number two, men, women, and the worst thing during that time was very high prevalent of this child labor, and child 8-year-old used to work for 12 to 13 hours without any holiday, right? Without even holiday. They used to work like from Monday to Sunday. Every day they need to work. And due to large scale migration, the problem was that since industries were unregulated, very easily accidents used to happen. Many people used to die. Hardly any law was there by the government. And if some people died, right, the replacement was also very easy to find. Because due to high unemployment, one person was always ready for replacing some other person. Right? I forgot, in USA, one incident happened. I don't know if I have written or not. Right? That incident, okay, I have not written. I will tell you. One incident happened. One factory was there. One factory was there in US during this time only. Women used to work. Only women used to work there. Right? So around I think 130 or 150 women were working. See, during that time, what used to happen? So once the laborers were in, they used to close the main gate. Right? This was closed. During that time, it was the practice. The moment laborers went into the factory, the main gate and every entrance was closed. Right? Managers were kind of kings. What they thought they used to do. Hardly any law was there by the government. So what happened? One day this factory caught fire. Right? And all these women started searching for entrance. Right? Around 100 to 120 women died by fire. And this incident became kind of immediate reason for demanding from the government that industries must be controlled. There is a need for law for controlling child labor. See, if USA has become superpower, the story behind that is very painful. Right? At least we may be having this problem, but we are not at these stages. Right? Key exit gates are closed and everything. It used to happen during those time in USA. Right? That is one thing. Second, there was huge corruption in politics. And we are talking about this time only. Remember this time, 1850 to 1890. Right? because this is a time when civil war also happened in USA, American Civil War, North versus South. Have you heard about this? Abraham Lincoln, very famous president. Under his leadership, the north part of USA won against south part, basically called Confederate America. Right? And what was the main reason of American Civil War? Abolition of slavery. Right? See, there are many factors I am telling you, because ultimately we need to reach. ये मिला आपको? ये मिला ना? नहीं मिला? ये ले लीजिए आप, है ना? ये ले लीजिए. अच्छा, you are having. Okay. हाँ हाँ हाँ, है ना? Because ultimately we need to reach here, that is the progressive era. So what was the progressive era? That you will only understand if you are understanding the background of this, right? And why there was corruption in USA, this much corruption? Because when constitution was framed, in 1776, there was two assumptions about the civil services or government work. Number one, the constitution makers assumed that public services don't need any expertise. You don't need to give exam for that, because all these services are basically common sense job, right? And if there is need for expertise, so rather than exam, there should be election, right? For example, district judge, district attorney. In the USA, what we say district judge, they are saying district attorney. Department of Justice, district attorney, right? Even today you will find that elections are there for this position, right? Due to this, what used to happen, the person who used to become the president of country, he used to nominate his persons everywhere. But at the lower level, this nomination was not possible, so he used to appoint directly, right? And that appointment system was known as spoil system, right? So let us say you became new president. So you appointed me and you appointed 10 persons, right? And what is the term of US president? 4 years. What is the term of Indian president? 5 years. So for 4 years, these people used to hold a position. Now let us say after 4 years, the president is defeated. Then what will happen? A new person will come and he will appoint new person. So what used to happen? People who were sitting in the government service, they used to directly. Directly means that, have you seen government notification? Any government notification? So the notification used to come, president on the advice of this is appointing this person or this much person for this position. So like UPSC is publishing list, then list used to come. Even today at the top level, you will find in USA, at the toppest level, means minister, secretaries, there is a spoil system, right? See, in India, indirectly you can say that at the top level, this system is also there. So who is chief secretary of state? No, chief secretary is decided by chief minister. Cabinet secretary is decided by prime minister, right? So at the top level in every country, this small system is there, and that should be there, because chief minister or prime minister, at least this much power they should have, ki which bureaucrat we want. But during that time, it was even at the lower level, right? It was even at the lower level, right? And so corruption, and once again factories, the working conditions I told you were very poor. This lighting was also very less, heating was very high in factories, completely factories were unregulated. And what started happening, right? Concentration of wealth started in USA. Concentration of wealth, this problem is even today. You may have read this in news. In India, 1% of people own how much resource? 70%, 60 to 70%. So what were the problems? Concentration of wealth. Number two, industrial monopoly, or what we say, corporate nexus. What is this corporate nexus? Try what can be the meaning of this corporate nexus? Corporate nexus simply means that, let us say some corporate is not doing his job properly. He's violating any law and you approach the authorities. So what he is doing, he is managing politician and bureaucrat. In another word, it is also known by crony capitalism, right? Crony capitalism. Third problem was obviously slums in urban areas, which led to diseases. Right? These were the main problems which were affecting USA, right? And then again, right, poor industrial working environment, in that, right, child labor, accidents, poor pay, very minimum payment managers or owners used to give to laborers, right? Then fifth is what? Political corruption. Okay? These were the main problems. And today, what India is facing? Political corruption, this problem we are having. Concentration of wealth, we are having. In, okay? Now what you need to keep in mind, and this was also the time when there was discovery. But not at this level, but still we are having. See, India is that country which is not very good in manufacturing. You know that. Manufacturing, we still are very poor, right? One of the main reason of unemployment in India is poor manufacturing sector. Because which sector is the biggest employer? No, no, no. Manufacturing. No, no, no. In general, which sector has the capacity? Let us say agriculture. Okay. Just tell me, in a family, if someone is having land, how much people he can employ? 10, 20, 30. And let us say one person is having factory. How much person he can employ? 100 to 100. See, the rise of China is basically due to manufacturing, right? Even the rise of Western societies as superpower, USA, Europe, these days they are not very good in manufacturing. But during industry, what was industrial revolution? Manufacturing revolution. it was due to manufacturing only, right? Although these were very poor, but still the profit they used to get from this was very, very high, right? So this part we can't directly compare, but yes, we are having this problem. But at the same time, in India, we are also having lots of laws. Workman Compensation Act, then we are having Gratuity Act, lots of act we are having, right? So what happened? This was the time when printing press was discovered and books were published, books, newspaper. So people who were from middle class in USA, they started mentioning this problem in books and newspaper. And circulation of newspaper in USA was always very high, right from the birth of that country till today. आया समझ में? What I am trying to say. See the problems which I told you, right? This was the time when printing press was discovered. You know history of this book or publication, you know that. See, until 1600, it was very difficult to read. Why? Because hardly anyone or any was having book. But what happened? Then there was discovery of printing press. So it became very easy for publishing. Like in one day, they used to publish one book. Then today, hardly in 2 minutes, book is published, right? So people started writing book. People started writing newspaper mentioning these problem, right? I will give you example. One writer was there, Tarbell. This writer wrote on unfair practices. Please write these examples. I think they have not written in your handout, right? Unfair practices in oil industry. Then one writer was there, Lincoln Stephens. So whenever you are reading Hindu or New Indian Express, you will see editorial is there, right? You are finding editorial. Who are writing editorial? People like these, right? Diplomats, writers, novelists, they are only writing, generalist, they will write, right? Lincoln Stephens, this writer exposed the corruption in big cities. So one thing, remember that today's class don't think about India if I'm not telling you, right? Only think about the history of USA, because Woodrow Wilson is coming after this. You will be able to understand only if you are knowing the history of USA. Just remember the problems which I told you, right? Then one book was published. The book name is The Jungle. In this book, writer wrote about unfair practices which were followed in meat industry, right? Then there were writers who wrote against the spoil system and corruption. ठीक है? And people like these came to be known as the progressive thinkers, and era from 1860 to 1910 came to be known as progressive era in USA. See, many writers were there, but very famous writer was there. His name was Woodrow Wilson. Okay. Many writers were there. Simply write against the spoil system and corruption, because spoil system was one of the main reason for corruption. So the problems which I told you, why government failed to control that? Little bit assumption. No, no, no. See, because this spoil system, the bureaucrats need to make law, and the people who were coming from spoil system, they were not permanent. They were coming for 4 years. So they focused only on one thing, making money, nothing else. Right? That was one of the main reason for failure of government to control these laws. But still, these progressive era thinkers, they started writing about it. They started protesting, and due to this, some laws were passed. Right? For example, there was one act you don't need to write. It is called anti-sermon antitrust law. Don't write this. It was simply against that one company can't hold another company. See what used to happen in US at that time. So let us say one company it is involved in oil business. So they used to open one company B under the holding of company A, and this was involved in, let us say, grain business, right? Then again A will open one company C, this will be involved in dairy business. So two company they will open under B, two company they will open under C, but ultimately who is the owner? A. It was a big practice in USA. So a law was passed for controlling this, that one company can't hold many companies, because see, if you'll open the company today in modern times, you need to write there what your company is going to do. They are mentioning around 15 activity which your company is going to do. These all things came from against this only. Right? Now come to this spoil system. Right? After this, I will tell you little bit about Charles Darwin. Okay? Little bit about Charles Darwin. So one president was there. His name was President Garfield. He was elected, I think, in 1881, something like this only. 1881. His one supporter was there. In election, this person worked with this person, right? And he also won the election. So after the election, Garfield became president of USA. So this person met him and he told that he want to become what today your one service is there, IFS, right? He wanted a posting in Paris, in embassy during that time, right? But President Garfield denied that appointment to this person. Then one day he sought President Garfield, and President died, and this was the immediate cause for reform against spoil system. Then spoil system was abolished and merit system was introduced in USA. ठीक है? Write this incident. And when these things were happening, see this I covered, right? You wrote that na 4 or 5 points. Okay? So when these things were happening in John Hopkins University, one student was there. He was studying PhD in this university, right? He simply thought that why not to write on these things, right? And the name of student was what? Woodrow Wilson. So he wrote one paper. The name of that paper was The Study of Administration. The name of that paper was The Study of Administration. ठीक है? Now just stop here. We'll discuss Woodrow Wilson, but before discussing this Woodrow Wilson, very briefly I will tell you one very unique development, that is Charles Darwin. ठीक है? अभी तो विड्रो विल्सन यू हैव रोट ना, हाँ अभी स्टॉप देयर, ठीक है, because we need to understand Charles Darwin also. So yesterday I was telling you this church played a very negative role in medieval ages in Europe. How? Because church used to tell people that everything is predestined. It means everything is pre-decided in your life. Right? Number one. Acha, remember that in India, little bit history you people have read. One school of thought is there that is called Niyativad or determinism. Same idea. Please write this determinism, or it is also known as Niyativad. Buddhism, Jainism, and one more school of thought came with them. This school of thought. Philosophical school. One was Jainism, one was Buddhism, one was this. It says that this school of thought simply says that everything is pre-decided. We are not makers of our destiny. Rather than this, God has for everyone, He has decided everything. We are simply doing what is decided for us previously. Right? In history, this will come. History अभी नहीं हुआ है. They have not started. They have not. Okay. History, they will teach you. Okay. Right? So church used to promote this idea, and church used to promote that human should aspire, human should work for reaching heaven, and that way is only if you are approaching us. Because since God has pre-decided everything, so if you want to go to heaven, right, come to us and we are going to tell you the right path for heaven. Well, very briefly I am telling you, this is a very long story. This itself can take 3 hours, right? But what happened? What happened in 1859? Charles Darwin wrote one book, Origin of Species. right? One thing he wrote here, which was kind of a very unique thing and against the church. Charles Darwin, by evidence, proved that human has evolved from primate such as ape. And this is a evolutionary process, right? And there you're understanding this, because this you need to understand if you want to understand theory in public administration. Because what will happen, the conclusion on which Darwin will reach, everyone will try to reach that conclusion. Everyone, all the thinkers in is but everywhere. Even today people are trying to reach on this conclusion which Charles Darwin gave, right? So Charles Darwin proved that with the evolutionary process there was one law, that was law of survival of the fittest. So who was the most fittest? He survived. Rest all species, they became extinct, right? Or the person or the species or the primate which was the fittest, he started dominating the ecosystem, right? But what church has told? No, God has decided everything, right? This idea was completely against the church, right? What Darwin then says further that, right? This is the problem of this board, right? Immediately it will go, right? Acha, that you have written? That you have written? Okay. Charles Darwin, he wrote one book, Origin of Species. He proved that human evolved from primates, right? And there was law of survival of fittest, and this he proved by evidence, logic. See, if you are getting time, I will say, you're from biology, na? No. Acha. So please read about this little bit on internet. Very interesting. This idea was kind of the first time in history anyone has given a new idea, and this idea was completely against the church. See, previous to this Charles Darwin, this was published in 1859. Evidence or logic. He proved by this there is law of survivor of fittest. Until today, many thinkers have tried to contradict theory, but everyone has failed. Okay? So until today, till today, this theory stands true. First, church tried many things, but no one gave any idea based on evidence or logic. So what used to happen until now, that is 1859, any problem used to come, right? In general, it was thought that feeling, experience of the older person is the way forward for solving any problem. But with the publication of this book, it was now accepted everywhere that rather than experience, feeling, reason, logic, evidence is key for solving any human problem. Right? evidence, logic, reason is key for solving any problem. Right? That is why if you will observe after 1859, you will find huge development in physics, chemistry, biology or science. After 1860, it became clear that if you want to study something, the best way is studying by logic or reason. And this term is in social science is known by positivism. Write this, positivism. No. See, empiricism is related to theory. Okay, don't get confused. This is called positivism. Empirism, normativism, they are different things. That I will also tell. Empiricism is basically when you are proving or studying any theory and you are proving that with the help of lab or experiment. Very close to this, but don't get confused. This is known as positivism. Right? So, what used to happen and what is science? What is science? Systematic study is called science. Systematic study of chemicals composition is known as chemistry. Right? Just read the definition of physics, chemistry or anything. You will feel all those definitions are very close to this or this. And Charles Darwin proved this. You know how many years Charles Darwin did research? Something like 25 years. Then he wrote this book. Right? So what I'm trying to tell you, this conclusion became very famous and it spread in whole Western world. Even in Asia, this conclusion was spreading like fire. Why? Because this idea was very revolutionary and against church. Previously, it was you believed that okay, what church is saying in Europe, everything is like that. But now Charles Darwin by evidence refuted that idea. Right? So when progressive era thinkers, right, it is this thing is written, read this 1 page 4. What is progressive? Intellectual theorists who supported the movement felt that old-fashioned ways meant waste and inefficiency, and there is a need to adopt scientific one best system. What this line is trying to say, see, influenced by this, all scholars try to promote one view, and this view was also right, that old methods they were now obsolete. We don't need that. There is a need for a new method based on what? That is what it is written. Based on, there is a need to adopt scientific one best way or one best system. Right? And remember this line, because in public administration, some 6-7 thinkers will try to adopt one best way only. Right? So progressive thinkers, which I told you, progressive era thinkers, inspired from Charles Darwin conclusion, started promoting this idea that we need to develop new method, we need to discard all the old method because the old methods are inefficient, they are not working now. And Woodrow Wilson was also influenced by this, right? So one new thing will come from now, that every thinker I will tell you will say we need to develop science, right? So the moment you are reading this, always remember this Charles Darwin conclusion. We need evidence. We need to study by the use of logic. ठीक है? हाँ, now we will start Woodrow Wilson. See what I told you until now, in your handout it is written in 4 points. ठीक है? Just in 4 points it is written. It is easy to revise. Right? Okay? Should we start this? Okay. So little bit background about Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson was born in basically a family which migrated from UK. Right? His family migrated from UK. USA is a country of migrants only. Please write this. Very highly influenced by British history and British literature. Two thinkers which influenced Woodrow Wilson, two British thinkers. Number one was Edmund. Number two was I think it is written, na? It is written. But write this name. This name is not written. In short, it is written. Right? So Edmund Burke. Edmund Burke was very famous political thinker. Right? So what Woodrow Wilson was writing, little bit same you can find. Huh? Religion. Okay. By religion also. Religion means Christianity, nothing else. Right? See, this person was a political theorist, very famous political theorist, Edmund Burke. He is the person who wrote on liberty also. Right? He was a very famous generalist. He also wrote on bureaucracy and administration. Right? Third person who influenced Woodrow Wilson as a student was, his name was Richard T. See all the names, please write, because UPSC is asking question. No. They are asking question about thinkers before Woodrow Wilson in public administration. So these are the some of the thinkers. Many thinkers are also there, but these are some of the thinkers who also wrote on bureaucracy, administration, or these thinkers more or less wrote on same thing on which Wilson also wrote. Right? So he was doing PhD. So in PhD, you need to publish thesis. You know that. Then only you are awarded the degree. So first he wrote notes on administration, but he thought that that book or that theme is not proper. Then he changed the name of this thesis. The new name he gave, the name was Art of Government. Art of Government. Then in last he again changed the name, and finally he gave the name that is the study of administration. Right? And one thing, Woodrow Wilson thought that Woodrow Wilson chose this topic only for one reason. He thought that what he is writing in the study of administration, this will help in solving the problem which is there by spoil system. What was the problem by spoil system? Biggest problem was corruption, and all the problem which came from industrial revolution, the problem further worsened because due to inefficient unresponsive administration. So Woodrow Wilson thought that he wrote that with this he thought that it will solve the problem which is coming due to the spoil system. Right? Later on, it is written in your handout. This thing you don't need to write. Later on, Woodrow Wilson became professor in Princeton University. Then he also became president of Princeton University. President means we say vice chancellor. Later on, then he also became governor of New Jersey. And one very good thing about Woodrow Wilson, which today you can also see, he started one thing, that as a governor, he started meeting press every day, right? This was very unique at that time because this ensured more accountability of the governor, right? Then ultimately he became president of USA, right? And he was the person who was responsible for establishment of League of Nations, which later on was United Nations, and he also won Nobel Peace Prize for this. And when he was, Woodrow Wilson was also a scholar of what I was telling you, progressive era thinkers. He was also one person who used to write. He's called as progressive president. Three president are called progressive president. Woodrow Wilson, then one Roosevelt was also there. Then one more president was also there. I forgot the name. Anyway, this is not that much important. But the moment Woodrow Wilson became president, before that one person also came. His name was something like Roosevelt. In 1901, he became president. So all the demands of progressive era scholars or progressive thinkers, they started implementing. No, no, that is different. Original first Roosevelt. What you are telling is son of first one. During Second World War, that is different. Okay, that is why it is written that when he was governor of New Jersey, he implemented various reform laws such as workers' compensation during job, again action against corruption, As a president, he established regulatory bodies such as Federal Trade Commission, which curbed discriminatory business practices, right? So more or less, you need to remember one thing. Since Woodrow Wilson was also one of the scholar of progressive era, so the moment he became president, he started acting on all those things which he used to write or which he used to demand, right? So obviously when Woodrow Wilson came, spoil system more or less was completely abolished during his time only, right? Now we'll see contribution of Woodrow Wilson, right? Contribution of Woodrow Wilson, right? So this is important because I will tell you around 10 in UPSC around 6 to 7 the UPSC is asking, but I will tell you about 9 to 10. So each contribution UPSC can ask in the form of 20 marker question, right? So number one. Acha, when I'm talking about contribution, it is nothing but what he wrote in this. Huh. So if you download this on internet, you will get around 26 to 27 page, one PDF you will get, right? But that you don't need to read because the language in which Wilson wrote is somewhat little bit difficult to understand because in US language you will find they don't use preposition of, on, in, hardly they will use. So it becomes very difficult for us to understand what they are writing, what exactly is the meaning of their writing, right? So this contribution we basically study this the topic on which he wrote. So first he start this his topic by talking about evolution of state. Number one, evolution of state. He talks about evolution of state. And when he talk about evolution of state, he basically, and remember that Woodrow Wilson mother and father was from where? UK. So you will see lots of European practices mentioned in this paper because he was highly influenced by UK. And one more thing, the university in which he was studying, name of that university was John Hopkins University. John Hopkins University, this university was very highly influenced by one university, Heidelberg University. Have you heard this university's name? Very good university in Germany, right? Very highly influenced by this university. This, I think it was established around 1300. This along with Oxford University, they are considered as a kind of oldest university, right? So Woodrow Wilson talk about evolution of state. So when he talk about evolution of state, he talks in the sense of Europe, right? So he says that evolution of state has happened in three stages, right? So first stage, stage one, right? Stage one he calls as period of absolute rule. So what was the period of absolute rule? No, ancient times. King was everything. Huh? King was law. King was everything. Right? There was rule of king and queen or monarchy. Right? Then as per Woodrow Wilson, in the evolution of stage 2 comes, and that stage he says as struggle for popular control. Can you tell me the examples? French Revolution. So there is a struggle between people and monarch. So French Revolution. Very good. Then he talks about stage 03. Stage 03 is era of popular control. And the example will be what? USA. Because now there is democracy. Right? So Woodrow Wilson says that until now, debate was between state and citizen. What is the role of state with respect to citizen? What are the rights citizen should enjoy? Right? So basically he says that in this stage everyone was focused on constitution, because where it is mentioned that citizen have this right, state has this responsibility in constitution. So Woodrow Wilson says that now time has came for studying administration. Write this. Now time has came for studying administration. See, remember this in the context. Acha, you wrote that. Time has came for studying administration. Please remember this in the context of what I was telling you when constitution was adopted. What constitution makers thought about administration? That it was the job of administration is like common sense. Right? So Woodrow Wilson says that now after third stage, we are in stage 3. Now time has came for studying administration. Separately, we need to focus on administration. Right? Further, he says that now we should study administration as a science. Write this. Now we should study administration as a science. As a science. And why is saying this science? Inspired from? Write this. Inspired from bracket Charles Darwin idea of positivism. Write this. Inspired by Charles Darwin idea of positivism. Remember this line. Right? And then he argues that see, many people give. But where was the evidence? Where was the evidence? कोई evidence नहीं था ना. See, the impact which Charles Darwin has, वैसा that impact no one is having. है ना? Because 25 to 30 years of research he has done, and see the topic evolution of man, that was against the church. See, church has started weakening from the day this idea was given. Even today you will find that church is against this idea. Even today church says that human is made by God. See, all religions say this only. Right? In Islam also there is idea that God created human. In Hinduism also this same thing is there. In every religion you will find that. But since we are talking in the context of Europe, so see, science developed from Europe. Scientific revolution, Renaissance, industrial revolution, everything started from Europe. So there may be some reason. कुछ तो कारण होगा. Charles Darwin was one of the main reason. मतलब after this hardly anything was remaining. Now it was very clear that now science is a way. Right? So administration should be studied as a science. Now the question is, for what? Why administration should be studied as a science? So Woodrow Wilson very nicely writes that because we need to write this, because we need to make administration efficient, economical, effective. Right? To make the administration efficient, economical, and effective. Now compare this with the spoil system. Was administration efficient? No. Was administration economical? No. Was administration effective? Acha, tell me where you will find this. This is basically followed in business or in private sector, right? See, private survives on the principle of what? Profit. The moment they are not in profit, they are out of the market. Right? So Woodrow Wilson argues that administration should be studied as a science. Why? To make administration efficient, economical, and effective. That is why many thinkers also write that Woodrow Wilson wanted to make administration as like business administration. Acha, from where he is getting this idea? No. See, that is why I told you, remember US history. What Woodrow Wilson, during industrial revolution in USA, conditions were very poor, but industries were in huge profit. Right? Have you heard this Rockefeller Foundation scholarship? Who was this Rockefeller person? If you like, if someone is going for USA, very famous scholarship is there. Indian students getting this scholarship, many Indian students every year. Rockefeller was one of the person I told you na, on oil industry one person wrote. He was the head of that oil industry. He got this idea from industries which were functioning in USA during his time. Right? Because they were earning huge profit. Right? So here Woodrow Wilson is criticized by many scholars that he wanted to adopt the idea of business practices. So he is equating government administration very similar to private or business administration. So Woodrow Wilson argues that no, rather than this, for achieving operational efficiency, the procedures in the government can be taken, or the procedures we can learn from business or private industry. ठीक है? This is his second theme which he discussed in the study of administration. हो गया? हाँ, हाँ, I will tell. So Woodrow Wilson says that there is now time has come in stage 3 where we need to study administration in the form of science. Right? Why we need to study administration in the form of science? To make administration efficient, economical and effective. Ajay, what is the meaning of this economical? In less resources, maximum output. There should not be wastage of unnecessary wastage of resources. Efficiency, day-to-day working should be very efficient. See, usually you will hear that governments waste money. It's very common practice in India. They are not very much efficient, like you are talking about banks, right? But we can adopt the day-to-day procedures which are adopted by private industry. We can introduce them in government. That is what he is telling. For achieving operations, day-to-day operations can be economical, efficient, effective if you are adopting the procedures of private sector. This is what is written here. आया समझ में? हाँ, okay. Right? This is his second idea. Number 3 is Woodrow Wilson argues that characteristics of administration is different than characteristics of politics. Right? He writes that characteristic of administration is different from characteristic of politics. This came to be known as politics administration dichotomy. This came to be known as politics administration dichotomy. What is the meaning of this politics administration dichotomy? It means that what he's saying that politics is different, administration is different. Right? That is what is the meaning of politics administration dichotomy. But remember that one story I told you yesterday, that here one tribe is there 100 and let us say 3 or 30 people are responsible for managing this. This later on became what? Government or administration. याद है? That you remember yesterday I told you. This was 10 here, and this came to be known as what? State. See, in the modern times, you will find that at the top of the government, the heads are basically people who are coming from political background. Take the case of India, USA, France, any country you take. Right? Era of popular control means democracy. Third, I told you, na? 3 stages. Stage 3, era of popular control means democracy. He's talking about democracy. Right? So just tell me, in democracy, can politics and administration, can they be different? How? Try, no problem. Okay. Okay. Just, you are from which state? Acha, you're Andhra Pradesh. Okay, just tell me. So, Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh decided that, just for the sake of example, that we need to give, let us say, 3,000 to girls in the form of scholarship every month. So now who will do that? Who will distribute? Administration, right? So how it is different? So this idea was later rejected. Okay? Today this idea is rejected, but during when Wilson wrote that, he wrote that both are different, and on this idea there is huge controversy, because later on in 1912 in one journal he wrote that it is both are same. Woodrow Wilson wrote. Huh. So just write, when he became president, he wrote that both are same. So just write, this is a controversial idea. No, no, no. See, the problem is Woodrow Wilson, after writing this, he never wrote anything on public administration. He completely went into politics. That is one argument, but whether he wanted or not, how we can know? Because he has not elaborated anywhere. So tell me how on मतलब कैसे हो सकता है research purpose? Just tell me. I gave you one example. ठीक है? This we can say from the perspective of public policy. From public policy we can say, but in public policy remember that politicians are the main drivers of deciding what will be the policy. Main function of legislature is what? Framing laws and policies. Right? So this idea today it stands rejected completely. But Woodrow Wilson, when he wrote Study of Administration, he talks about dichotomy, but after 30 years he wrote that both are same. But what you need to remember is that either both are same or they are different, but their origin is only from one, that is state. It is written in your handout. Characteristic of politics is different from characteristics of administration, although both are parts of state. So this line, both are parts of state, today it is accepted. Right? Then just tell me what is this? Yesterday I told you about this. Remember yesterday I told you? What are they? Cameralist? Military. They tried to write on the public administration, but they failed to focus very much on administration. Woodrow Wilson was one of the person who studied them very thoroughly. And Cameralists existed in Germany and France. Right? And in Germany and France, even in UK, monarchy was there. Since monarchy was there, so government was developed as a full-fledged part of state. But in USA, democracy was there, so very less focus was on the government. So Woodrow Wilson fourth idea is that USA need to learn and adopt techniques from Europe when it comes to running day-to-day administration. Acha, this always remember Woodrow Wilson is trying to improve or he's trying to develop a new system in the opposition of spoil system. Right? And this was the time when merit based bureaucracy was slowly it was introduced in France, Germany, UK, everywhere. So he says that USA as a country we need to learn from Europe. What we need to learn? Day to day how we need to run administration, that we need to learn from Europe. Right? So he is talking about what? Comparison. He is talking about comparing and learning. He is talking about comparing and learning from Europe. Right? And this idea later on developed into one new branch of public administration. Today it is known as comparative public administration, where there is a focus on comparative studies between administration of various countries. Comparative public administration. ठीक है? In short, it is known as CPA. Have you seen the syllabus? In syllabus, this is a very famous topic, and every year 2 to 3 questions are coming from this. Right? So in public administration, it is said that the first comparative public administrator thinker was Woodrow Wilson. हाँ, ठीक है. Just see what is written. Point number 6. American administration should learn and adopt technique from Europe. Comparativist, after that one line is given, gives more importance to means than end Gandhi. What is the meaning of this? See, although he says that we need to adopt, we need to learn from Europe, but ultimately, who was ruling Europe? Monarchs, right? Kings, queen, right? So the question is whether Woodrow Wilson, and it has, this same thing has been disputed by many scholars, whether Woodrow Wilson was wanting monarchical rule in USA, right? So he says that Woodrow Wilson says that no, we only need to learn the technique of running day-to-day administration properly, right? Gandhi app given because it is high chance that UPSC may ask this question, that you need to compare Woodrow Wilson with Mahatma Gandhi, right? For example, Mahatma Gandhi says that both means and ends should be ethical. You know this? Have you heard about this idea of Mahatma Gandhi? In GS4, you will read this, right? What is what is the meaning of this? Means and ends should be ethical. Very good, very good. Both should be ethical. But Wilson argues that he focuses more on means, right? Because from where you are learning from monarchs. They were what? Dictators. And remember that in USA, people migrated from Europe because they were in opposition of this rule. So if you will view from the viewpoint of Mahatma Gandhi, this since means is unethical, then obviously ends will be also unethical. This is going to help you very much in ethics, right? Then Woodrow Wilson, like Napoleon, argued for, and Woodrow Wilson was also influenced by Napoleon, and here clearly we can see Napoleon ideas, because Woodrow Wilson argues that there is a need for separate technical school of civil services training, and this was later on established also in USA. It is written in your point number 7. Argued for technical school for civil services for training. Before this, just write inspired by Napoleon. Inspired by Napoleon. Okay, right? See these, now I will tell you some extra points I am telling you. See, Gandhi you will not find anywhere, but still UPSC may ask, who knows, right? Then very interesting about Wilson is he says that government government is a trustee of people. So it should rule, it should use the resources as a trustee. Now, who is the other thinker? Mahatma Gandhi also gave the same idea for both corporate as well as for government, that they should rule as a trustee. Very interesting idea, right? And Woodrow Wilson also writes that government or administration should be more focused towards implementation of laws. So that is why in many books it is written that public administration is implementation of laws. Right? Acha, please write this. Later on, inspired from this, a new branch developed in public administration, and the name of that new branch is public policy. Public policy is in your syllabus. Have you seen that? That topic is coming directly from here. Today it is a sub-discipline of public administration. Mostly like 80% time we are studying implementation, right? Although in public policy, policy formulas and policy monitoring, then feedback, everything will come. But the biggest challenge is, see, in India, what is the biggest challenge? No, implementation. ठीक है? Government is having around 500 schemes, but tell me where you see when it comes to implementation. On paper, everything is very good. So public policy in developing countries basically focuses on implementation. And here the idea of Woodrow Wilson comes because, see, just remember these ideas in the context of problems which progressive era scholars talked. Wilson is saying against all these things, right? We need to study about administration. Administration is about implementation of law. What was the biggest problem in USA during that time? First, there were no laws. If laws were there, Acha, I will tell you one thing. I think I forgot to tell you. This industrial problem, the problems which were created, both state and central government, they tried to make law. But problem was that these industrialists, they used to approach Supreme Court, and Supreme Court used to give judgment in their favor during that time, right? So these were main contributions of Woodrow Wilson. Now criticisms and judiciary. See, matlab supremacy in what sense? Even India is considered as same like America. Indian Supreme Court. Acha, supremacy you are asking in three organs. Huh. See, America, uh, no. See, in USA, judiciary is completely different. What is there in India? Supreme Court can only hear constitutional cases, whereas Supreme Court of India can hear any cases, civil, criminal, है ना, family cases. मतलब anything can hear, but Supreme Court in USA can hear only one type of cases, that is called constitutional cases, right? In UK, Parliament is the supreme. Remember this. In UK, don't have any constitution. Everything is followed by convention tradition, but still Parliament is the supreme. But in India and USA, Supreme Court is supreme, but never write like this, because there should be cooperation between legislature, executive and judiciary rather than supremacy. You can't tell who is supreme, and there should, well, no one should be supreme, right? Because cooperation between three branches is the basis of separation of power. है ना? Cooperation between all three branches. right? So today I am stopping here. Tomorrow we are going to read criticisms, impact and relevance of Woodrow Wilson, right? But today you may have get little bit idea that many public administration sub-disciplines are coming from this thinker only. That is why he is considered as a father of public administration. Okay? Now any question you want to ask, then I will give you one question that you need to write and you need to submit that tomorrow. Any question? Second ARC अभी तो don't read. नहीं you messaged also ना. Don't read. है ना? Don't read. अभी you don't need that. Rather than this, I told you about one book. Please please read again Woodrow Wilson chapter number 3, Woodrow Wilson. No, please read that again after reading this. This you can take. अभी तो हो गया, right? है ना? See, books, see in optional you need this more than books. Why? Because when you will go for writing mains, है ना? You can't read books. है ना? You need this. Total concept, see, what they will do, even if they are giving book, mostly they are copy paste. है ना? So why to do that? Prasad and Prasad is very good book. See, I will recommend you some four books only, not more than that. Rest I will tell you. है ना? Prasad and Prasad is kind of must for public administration. है ना? And what I have told you, see one thing I will tell you. What I have told you today, in Prasad and Prasad you will find less idea. Because he has read Gandhi you will not find anywhere. है ना? So this contains more. These 10 points, it contains more content than Prasad and Prasad. Just read that book and you will feel that. See, in Prasad and Prasad, I will tell you what they have written. They have written Woodrow Wilson wanted to study. First, they will give a brief idea about Woodrow Wilson. So there they will write progressive era completely they have missed. You have read that. But the problem is that without understanding progressive era, you can't understand public administration discipline. You can't understand. Okay, so that book has completely missed that. Then little bit they will tell you about Woodrow Wilson wrote this study of administration, the state one more, then where he worked. That is given here. He was governor, then president. After that, they will simply write his ideas. So in ideas, they have mostly given 5 ideas only. His idea on administration as a science, politics and administration, they are different. Number 3 is civil service. Number 4, administration as compared to business administration. I think only 4 they have given. 5th, they have concluded criticism. हो गया उसका खत्म. Okay, so this is, just read that book, you will feel that this is more important than that book. एंड एक बार और पढ़िएगा आप, ठीक है? एक बार और पढ़िए इसको. No, we didn't adopted it. No, we didn't adopted it. मतलब we can't say. See, UPSC exam today is based on Kothari Commission recommendation. Kothari Commission, one Kothari Commission was there in 1970. He may have taken from there. Who knows that? He may have taken from there. But what is मतलब what you need to focus is that presence of this much merit based selection in China in ancient times. This you should mention when we are studying personal administration. See, this thing is not very easy thing because it was the age of kings and monarchs. They used to appoint their family members as officers. So this practice itself is a very unique thing in China that I was telling you. I think it is someone between some 200 some rank. So marks is 295. है ना? This year for selection in optional you need something around 275. है ना? Very strict checking this year. But highest is 295, although you will see that 290, 285, 292 people are saying, but highest is 295. है ना? See, optional every year I will tell you, any optional you take, this ratio more or less is maintained by UPSC. Always. Right? So for example, this year around this much people gave from PSIR. ठीक है? Around this much people got selected. What is the percentage? 10%. Take PubEd around this much people gave. Around 45 people got selected. From geography, highest number, around 1400 people gave. Around 100 people got selected. ठीक है? But what we are knowing in market, this optional is doing very good. ऐसा है ना? See, remember this. For social science, this is constant. You will hardly hear. Acha, tell me why you want to take any other optional. No, just like, see, we are just discussing why you need to take. No, let us say, matlab, where is the doubt? See, doubt is, I am telling you where doubt is coming. Why people, see, usually when you are fresher, so we are observing rank 1, rank 2, rank 10 like that. Right? So I will tell you, some 2 years before rank 1 was from maths. So lots of people took maths. But what happened after that? Don't go on this. Rather than this, just see how these people are getting selected. Whether it is from optional, whether it is from GS, whether it is from interview. Interviews plays very big role if you want to come in top 70. Right? So for optional, if you want to see the marks, just see the marks of highest ranker and lowest ranker. For example, I will tell you about one literature, Hindi literature. So a person has scored around 290 marks, highest marks, right? But his rank is around 120, something like that. But a person, again from Hindi, he has scored some rank 70 or 60. But he got very bad marks in Hindi. He got very good marks in essay. So selection is not only from optional. Remember this. Selection is from GS 1, 2, 3, 4 essay plus interview. Interview always play very big role in list. है ना? See, this is kind of very situational. Many times it has been seen that UPSC is not asking even one question from optional. है ना? And many times it has been seen that all the questions are coming from what is your optional subject. It depends on you, right? Because just download, you will get anyone's detailed application form. That is called DAF, DAF. DAF 1. DAF 1 you will get, DAF 2 you will not get. When you will download this DAF 1, it will be around of 10 pages. There it will be asked what is the place of your birth, your first language, name of the area where you are living, name of the place from where you studied 10th class, 12th class, graduation, PG, your hobby, everything will be written in college, whether you have won any competition or not. Now someone was, let us say someone was very interested in playing chess. It may be possible your whole interview may be on that only. है ना? But if you are from public administration, good thing about interview is that since you are knowing many things about administration, because there, if let us say 5 people are sitting, so 3 will be from administration. It is kind of must. 3 people will be from service. So it becomes somewhat easy for a student of, I will say, social science, right? Not public administration, but if you are a student of social science, it becomes somewhat easy to give interview. But people just say, people of having background of electrical engineering are scoring 205 marks in interview. Now, it is very situational. Stay away from these things. Just focus on your study. Very situational. Okay. Any topper told you, don't take this. Reality is that they don't know what exactly. Hmm, hmm. See, every subject is dynamic, especially what UPSC is asking today. You have seen prelims paper, the most dynamic paper UPSC is asking. See, this exam is like that. Every year it is evolving. You see, pattern had changed in CSAT, not in GS. GS paper is more or less like 2018, 19, 20. In prelims, I am telling you. Every year, see, one thing always remember, every year UPSC evolves. So in 2023, 24, right? You will give in 24. So you will see prelims paper, which you will feel this is the first time I am seeing this kind of thing. UPSC is like that. And it may be possible a person getting rank 1 may fail in prelims in 2024. This year it has happened. Many people got selected, they are in service, they are out of prelims. You know that. You may be hearing this, right? That is true for every year. Then essay for mains, again you will feel that, okay, new thing I am saying. Then GS1 to GS4, it will feel like this only. Only one thing is constant every year, that is called interview. Okay? So what you need to do, you need to evolve here along with UPSC. So this is not the SSC exam or IIT exam or medical exam that everything will come from book. This is civil services exam, considered as the one of the toughest exam in world due to this reason. So every year it evolves So you may be cracking this exam in 2025. Yourself, you may be confused exactly what is the best strategy for these. The reality is this. Okay? Anything else? Don't worry, just study. Bito, you're just starting. Self evaluate, like every week, just see what you are studying, what you are not studying. See, optional, I will say at least read for 10-20 days. Little bit picture will start clearing. You are understanding what I am telling you. Then what is the problem? See, optional problem starts when you are not understanding that. In public administration, one problem is that the syllabus which UPSC has given is kind of three-fourth. They have mentioned many conceptual things like progressive thinkers. है ना? See, yesterday's lecture and today's lecture before Woodrow Wilson, I don't think you will find anywhere. है ना? In any book you will not find. है ना? But the problem is that now think about students who are studying for 2-3 years without knowing these things in background. Obviously, they will say that this optional is not good because interlinking is not there. And that interlinking is not possible with if you are knowing the background, that interlinking will come. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Should we end this? Okay. ठीक है.